Recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios Brisbane on 102.1 FM.
And broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Z Games.
With 10 years experience and over 500 episodes,
Z Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture.
Want to reach out? Message us on Facebook at ZEDGamesAU.
Hey. It's Z Games.
Yay.
That's my favourite intro. The lazy hey.
I'm Maylee, and I'm here.
With Paul.
And Rani.
That's us.
Yeah.
There's three of us.
I enjoy the subtle indicating with your eyes for us to speak.
Yes.
Yeah, that's, it's nice because people aren't aware of that. It's a visual cue that radio listeners can't.
Yeah, we don't want them to know.
Yeah, it would really hold up the show if we were to stop and discuss such a thing. So great work there.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
What are we doing tonight?
What are we doing
Talking
tonight?
about video games.
Oh, yay.
Did you guys not come prepared?
Look, I have my thesis due in 6 weeks, not months. 6 weeks, so my brain is fried.
And it's not about video games?
No, it's about music.
Video game music?
I've heard of that. I quickly got this game Snake on my old Nokia here. I'm quickly playing through that for a hot review.
Yeah, I've been enjoying Crossy Road.
I saw Crossy Road played at PAX once, and they used a balance board to play it.
Ooh,
which
that
made
would
it a
be
lot
cool.
more fun.
I mean,
it's okay game. It's fun.
Immediately fail because my balance is terrible.
Oh, that's part of the fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what have we actually been playing lately?
My emotions.
I've been playing all sorts of things. I've been playing Deathloop, been playing Artful Escape, been playing, I don't know, a Potion Craft, I think it's called, just came out. Got that. Oh, I never stop.
Actually, to blow off some steam last night, I decided to start playing the controversial, for at the moment, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Or not Modern Warfare, Warzone is what we were playing. Only controversial because of, who owns it, but whatever.
There's nothing wrong with Activision. What could possibly be happening?
Yeah, sometimes you do need to
and swear into a microphone, which I cannot do here. So
no, you've got to use creative swear words here.
So yeah, I was playing Call of Duty with my friend. Not as steep a learning curve as some other things like CS:GO, but CS:GO I logged in and immediately logged out.
Look, I used to be a big Counter-Strike player back in the day, and I didn't really play CSGO. I loaded it up once, and I had one match, and my team was killed except for me, and I managed to wipe the other team.
Ooh.
Like, just completely pure luck.
Yeah.
I'm not that good of a player. But I just went, well, I'm never beating this, and never played it again.
You peaked.
Yeah,
I peaked on
sounds
my
about
first
right.
game and said, done. It's just downhill from now.
That's smart.
Yeah. I know my ego can't take any more than that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I knew that I wasn't going to blow off steam playing Overwatch. I think I would have just made myself more stressed out playing Overwatch. So I was like, why don't we try a new game? Because that's not stressful at all.
yeah.
No.
You could, I think it's Slipgate or something. It's first person. It's basically Halo combat with Portal mechanics.
Oh, well, I hated Halo, so...
No, well, I mean, it's just it's a simple point and click interface. But when you first start the game, it secretly puts you against bots.
Yeah.
So everyone feels like a god at the beginning.
Yep.
So just
Why
it'll
would
feel
it
great.
do that? Raise people's hopes to crush them?
No, I mean, you can keep playing with bots. You can choose to do that later.
I would never.
I would.
I would rather be crushed in real play than versus the bots. I don't even know why.
My favourite stress reliever back in the day was
you can
Unreal
actually yell
Tournament,
at
just
them.
killing bots over and over again.
If I'm playing with bots, then I'm the factor that determines it. But if I'm playing with other people, it's their fault I'm losing. Like, it's the rest of my team.
Yeah.
It's their fault.
Absolutely. It's never your fault.
Yeah. That's why I don't play with bots.
Yeah.
I think we should listen to some news.
I love news.
I think we should listen to some news.
Prepared for us earlier today by our fearless leader.
Oh, yeah.
This week in gaming news, Blizzard Entertainment CLO resigns. Claire Hart, the Chief Legal Officer of Activision Blizzard's Entertainment, announced her resignation this week, posting on her LinkedIn saying, "After more than 3 years at Blizzard Entertainment, I have decided to move on to my next adventure. The past 3 years have been full of unexpected twists and turns, but I feel honoured to have worked with and met so many great people at Blizzard and across the Activision Blizzard businesses." Claire Hart doesn't make any comment about whether her resignation has anything to do with the very public and ongoing harassment lawsuit with Activision Blizzard. An update on that lawsuit, the US Securities and Exchange Commission has reportedly launched a wide-reaching investigation into Activision Blizzard. They will be looking into how the publisher dealt with the multiple allegations of sexual harassment, abuse, and toxic behavior. California Department of Fair Employment and Housing filed the lawsuit back in July. They also subpoenaed several of Blizzard's higher executives, including the CEO, Bobby Kotick. It would appear that the SEC has started asking Blizzard to hand over various documents. These include personal files of those higher-ups. A spokesperson from Activision confirmed that there is indeed an ongoing investigation and that the company is cooperating in full. Melbourne's earthquake disrupting gameplay. The 5.9 magnitude earthquake in Melbourne caused quite some disturbance this week, however did inject some funny moments into people's lockdowns. Former Carlton player Brendan Favola was playing Call of Duty and he tweeted out, "I'm sitting here playing Call of Duty on my PlayStation with my headphones on and my whole screen started shaking. My PlayStation nearly fell off." It would appear that many game players and streamers experienced moments of fear for their gaming gear during the earthquake. If you have a story that you'd like to share about nearly losing a console or PC, please send us a message on Facebook at ZEDGamesAU. We'd love to hear about it. Gaming deals. If you're looking for some awesome new deals on games, especially leading up to Christmas period, Amazon have a bunch of good prices for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, such as Deathloop is now $79, Death Stranding Director's Cut is $69, you've got FIFA 2021, Far Cry 6, and Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, just to name a few, have come down by quite a bit. Nintendo Switch Lite is also down to $259 as opposed to the $329. There's also some great deals going for Xbox games as well, such as Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate is now 50% off, NBA 2K 2020 is down to $80.90, Star Wars Squadrons, Watch Dogs Legions are also down a lot too. Speaking of some great games, let's talk about this week in gaming releases. Diablo 2 Resurrected comes out on the 23rd of September, and so does Ember, Flu 5's Adventure, Mech Warriors 5 Mercenaries, Medieval Dynasty, Sable, and Sea of Thieves Season 4. On the 24th of September, Death Stranding Director's Cut, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and Lost Judgment. On September 28th, Chernobyl Light, Ghost Runner, In Sound Mind, Lemnis Gate, New World, Outer Wilds Echoes of the Eye DLC, and then on September 29th, Guardians of Hyrule and Insurgency Sandstorm. That's all this week in gaming news.
Woo.
A lot has happened.
Yeah.
So much has happened.
What was the most exciting thing that happened?
Outer Wilds DLC is coming out. We know nothing about it except that it exists. That's what's great. Game of the generation. Get some more.
I love when I turn on my computer in the morning to start work, and the first thing that happens is just like an announcement. Something that happened recently is that The Sims, they redid all of the base game content and updated all of it. And I just I didn't know it was happening. And then I opened my computer and everybody that I follow is going crazy. And I'm just like, what is happening?
That seems surprisingly generous for The Sims to just...
I think it's something that they've been asked to do for a while now.
That's fair.
Everybody complains about how the base game stuff was boring. So they're like, oh, we'll redo it because you're not getting The Sims 5 anytime soon.
No, I wouldn't expect. But I assume Sims next time will be just more of a platform because that's where everything's going.
It's been a long time since Sims 4 came out. Sims 5 could be close-ish.
Well, maybe.
It's been almost a decade. And
I mean, it is because it is already a platform. I guess they do they do their stuff packs and things packs everything every year.
Yeah, it's just not slowing down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
You sort of got to
Anyway.
start again from scratch and
Yeah.
move the community, and is
Yeah.
it worth it? Could
Yeah.
be. I don't know. I haven't been a Sims
It'll have
person
to be
since Sims 2.
eventually.
It's fine. I'll keep you guys updated.
Yeah. As
Thank
long
But
as I
there
can-
was that update on the Activision stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Every
still
week
bad.
there's more. Let's talk about the Securities and Exchange Commission. Because now that they're involved, that's because it's hurt business.
Yep.
They don't care about the actual
The
bad
people.
stuff. Yeah, the
No,
people
no,
don't matter.
It's money.
It's that it's hurt the investors now, so
Yeah.
they need to look at that.
Well, good.
I mean, yes, good, but also, I mean, they're not coming in to change the culture as such. They're just there to say you guys didn't report this properly to the investors. You know, when there's a rape, we want to know. Anyway, so
And then, of course, the most devastating thing about an earthquake being
Betty's Burgers.
Betty's Burgers. The impact it has on your gaming. I grew up somewhere where we had frequent earthquakes, and we had one in the middle of a math test once.
Oh yes.
We just kept going. You just keep going. But they're not that big here usually.
No, I've never experienced an earthquake.
Neither have I. I
Yeah.
didn't know we could have them.
I was always under the impression that we couldn't, and then my mum was like, no, we get them fairly often, but they're never that big.
Yeah, I mean, earthquakes are a thing that just kind of happens, but also, most of them aren't necessarily noticeable, and we're not on any particular fault line, at least where we are.
No. Yeah, I feel for Victoria right now. Feeling
Yeah,
for them.
they just keep getting
Yep.
hit.
They're not having a good time.
to be up here in Queensland. If you're listening and you're in Victoria,
Yep.
It's all
sending
shaky
love.
and high-visi and
All my cousins,
lockdowny.
all my cousins on one side of my family are either in Sydney or Victoria or New Zealand. And anytime they put something in the group chat, I'm just laughing in Queensland.
Go
For now, knock on wood.
Yeah,
play some Call of Duty.
Yeah.
To let off the steam, guys.
absolutely.
Make you feel better.
Yeah. Well, unless an earthquake nearly causes your PlayStation to fall off while you're playing COD with your headphones on.
Oh.
That would be the greatest of tragedies.
Yeah, no. It's been a big week. And there's lots coming out too. I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
My bank account's not excited.
That's how. What's
That's why I get to say the words Game Pass again. Sable just came out. I'm downloading that home at the moment.
you've said
We do
Game
it.
Pass so much, and I just ignored it
I'm
until
actually-
this month.
Until this month, yeah.
I'm actually considering it now that I have a PC that will run it, because my last PC
You had
wouldn't
problem
run
with
it.
that, yeah. Well, both games we're going to talk about tonight are both Game Pass games. We're shills.
yeah.
We're total
I-
shills.
Recently played Psychonauts, which we will talk about later, but
We're not sponsored, by the way. It would be nice.
No,
if
we have played the ad that Boys for Men did twice on this show. It's just an ad, but because it's so funny, we're like, yeah, it's a funny song, let's play it anyway. So we are basically complete shills for Microsoft
my
and Game
goodness.
Pass.
it came out, and my options were $100, which after playing, I feel is worth it. But also, the other option was $1, so I took that option.
$1 is a good option
was a
for
good
the starter.
deal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm seeing it right now. Join for $1, and I'm thinking,
Free month, $1? We're
I'm
not-
ready.
Yeah,
I'm not
there's
shilling
been
for this
times over
company.
the years where it's like if you play the game right, you can set yourself up for years at $1 a month. I'm not in that category, but it's like,
Oh,
I missed
yeah.
out.
I mean, it's worth it for
I
price.
think I missed out on that last time. I only just missed out on it. I was just so
Yeah,
grumpy
you
about
had to
it.
exchange things and whatever. I mean, I'm still happy with the cost is fine because we are spokespeople for Microsoft Game Pass.
Apparently.
No, we're not. We're neutral parties, and I'm Maylee, if you're joining us since the beginning.
Yeah, I'm still Paul.
I'm still Rani.
Oh, that's not exciting. We're all just
I'll change
the
it up.
same.
Wait.
I am Rasputin,
Oh, dear.
which is nowhere near Rasputin's
that's not
voice. Well, no, I was thinking of the real. I'm the real Rasputin. Yeah, I'll just come back again.
I mean, if you want to mix it up, I do still go by the name Django. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's go by our handles.
Hi, guys. I'm Enigmatic J.
I mean, not to derail, but one time someone called me my handle in real life, and I found that really weird.
That sounds uncomfortable, yeah.
It's like, no. My name's Paul. That's for funs. That's over there.
The only people that can say that are strangers screaming through online
Yeah.
voice chat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, even then, a lot of the time I handle these days is just Rani Django. So
Wow.
it's funny
Best of both
seeing
worlds.
they stumble over Rani though, because if they're not Australian, usually they're like, I don't know how to say that.
That doesn't sound...
Rani.
Rainy, rainy,
Rainy.
Rani.
Anyway,
Psychonauts
Yes,
2.
we're here to talk about Psychonauts 2. It's a good game.
the third game in the Psychonauts series.
It's misleading.
Wait, what?
It is.
Yes. So Psychonauts, which came out 16 years ago,
Oh my goodness.
which was Double Fine's first major game, and then not sure, like 2-3 years
I think
ago.
it was like 2016.
Oh my god,
2017?
PlayStation 2.
Yeah, there was Rhombus of Ruin, which is a PlayStation
Yes.
VR exclusive.
Never played it.
It's very good. You can come
I-
play at my place if you want.
I watched it. Oh, I may.
It was a fun little experience.
Yeah.
But yes, and this game,
Wait, did you say it's on Game Pass?
that's on Game, and I think Psychonauts 1 is on Game Pass as
Yeah.
well. But yeah, and this one picks up the second that Rhombus of Ruin finished,
Yeah.
which almost no one's played because it's a PSVR game.
It's like 2 days after the first game, and then in those 2 days was Rhombus of Ruin.
yeah, 16. It's been 16 years to go 2 days in the future.
That's how it feels like sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I should... Hello, microphone. I should probably mention what Psychonauts is sort of about for people who may not know before I just spend the next several minutes talking about how much I love it. It's a platformer.
3D platformer.
It's a 3D platformer. That's true.
That's very different to a regular platformer.
It is. You got
Especially a
It's
1D
a whole-
platformer.
It's a whole other dimension.
It is.
set in a wacky cartoon-ish world
Yeah.
of psychic spies where you play a 10-year-old kid named Rasputin who was played by Paul.
It was,
Yeah.
yeah. And in the role, which I embodied, I'd escaped from my circus family.
Yes.
And I'd gone to a psychic summer camp, which was for kids that wanted to become eventually psychonauts.
Yeah.
And everything went wrong. This is in the first game. There was a bad person stealing people's brains and such. But your job was to go inside people's brains with a little door. You'd throw it on the back of the head, and then you could go inside their brains. And so each level in the game was somebody's psyche represented in some way. So you would deal with their fears and anxieties and their issues, and you'd have to fight like thought sensors and stuff like that inside their brain. But it also meant that every level was totally different, often different art styles and different gameplay elements every level, which
I love
was super unique at the time. It's still pretty unique now.
And that is the same format, basically, of the second game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except you're not in a summer camp anymore. You joined the Psychonauts. Only to be quickly told that, they weren't allowed to say you remember. So you're an intern.
Woo!
Woo! We love being interns.
Yay.
We've all been there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Psychonauts.
May I?
Well, I guess the first thing I wanted to talk about was the levels themselves. The sort of way that they designed these levels around people's psyches in the first game and the second game. But in the second game, and part of this might come from when I played the first game, I was a very small child.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm an adult. It's been that long. But they felt a lot more... They seem to be tackling bigger problems or
Well, so
stronger problems.
I'm going to briefly tap into actually the level that was just playing music from the Lady
Yes.
Octopus, because this is one of the important things, and one of the things where the creators have become a little bit more aware, because basically you were going into people's brains and screwing up with their brains to make them do what you want.
Yeah.
That's kind of the plot of the first game, how things are going. Now, you're well-intentioned, but what you're effectively doing is kind of mental abuse. They don't
not
gloss over this in the second game, and it is one of the major themes of the first real level in the game, where you have done some sort of manipulation to someone's brain, and that is framed as a very bad thing.
Yeah.
So from then on, what you are doing is more help basically doing therapy inside their brain, but in a cool platformy way.
Yeah. Fun therapy.
Yeah. It's like I'm at a cool music festival, and
I did like that they addressed that too.
Yeah, it felt like one of those things that, like, they could have not, and it probably would have still gone by. But I think it was just a bit of self-awareness, a bit of growth. That, hey, when we actually take a step back from this idea, it has potential problems. That's it. So level-wise, I think it's weird. I start the game, and I'm like, this game looks exactly the same as Psychonauts.
Yeah.
It doesn't at all. But I went back and played some more original. But the designs are all exactly the same, and in your mind's eye, you've just scaled technology up.
Yeah.
So they can do a lot more fancy things. They can
looks way better.
It looks great, and I think the levels themselves visually are a lot more exciting than the first game. But I don't know if variation gameplay-wise they quite reach the same level. It's still all very good.
That's true. I can think back to the first game. The notable, this was a really cool one was
like,
the Napoleon War
Yeah,
map.
that's what I was thinking,
That
yeah.
was so unique compared to the rest of them.
Yeah.
And still sort of fit in.
And structures there's the black velvet. So one of them had a black velvet art style for the level, and there was a running of the bull style thing where it was a circuit that you had to go through, and the famous one, the Milkman Conspiracy, which is, it's one of those levels that has its own Wikipedia page because it's so notable, where it's all about conspiracies. But this one is most of the levels are pretty much just platforming, but in weird environments.
I think the environments and the mines have the same or maybe even more diversity, but you're right in that the mechanics of those levels are they're
a little bit similar in that. And there's a lot more combat in this one, in that I don't know if there's more of it, but the combat's they actually added moves and stuff. The original game's pretty simplistic.
And there's more enemies.
Yeah, and lots of enemies that require you to use specific powers to defeat, which brings in a bunch, because in the first game, you got a bunch of powers that you'd use once for the puzzle they were designed for, and then you'd never touch again. Because why would you? Now there's ones that, like clairvoyance, which is a fun power where you cast it on someone and then you see through their eyes. So you see what you look like to them. So that's often a funny gag.
Yeah.
But then there's an enemy that you need to cast that on at a certain point, so that you can see a secret thing that only they can see, and that's how you defeat them. So they've done some smart things with that as well.
Yeah. I think compared to the first games, the levels of the second game, or the mines that they were set in, seemed more directly related to the story.
Mm-hmm.
In that, in the first game, you had to go into these mines because they were sort of in the way of you getting where you wanted to go. But in the second one, the themes of them seem to fit into what was happening.
The story is very interconnected. Everyone is involved. Even though not all the kids from the summer camp came with you, because it wouldn't make any sense. A lot of them have relatives that are there, so it's if you know the story, you know who all these people are already because of who they are. But it does. It's very much everyone has a place to play. And I did kind of feel at the end of it, because it's quite a substantially length game. It's probably around 20 hours or so. I didn't actually see.
You could rush it much quicker, but I think I spent around 20 hours.
Yeah, but it would get to the end, and near the end, all the characters sort of come together, and there's so many characters. When I looked, I was just like, shit, you've got all these characters from the first game who've barely had much. You've got all these new characters, and they all relate, and they're all doing something. And I'm like, this is maybe a bit confusing for new players, for everyone, but the ones that the actual story is about, they're all given plenty of time to know who they are.
What was your favorite? Who was your favorite character, or what was your favorite mind to go into?
I mean, favorite mind-wise, there's a level that's a cooking themed level.
Oh, that was fun.
And that's
we love
fun.
cooking
It's
games.
got a very and the character that it's exploring, he's very well-meaning and cute and very nervous as well.
Yeah.
But it is there isn't really a down. I don't have a bad level.
That's the
Yeah, I could potentially wrangle together a pointless here's my ranked list of levels, but they are so they're all of a similar quality, and like probably about the only thing that I criticize about it is that the levels are pretty simple on the whole. There's a great long level. It's a music festival. It's an all psychedelic art style, a bit.
That's at least my favorite in the way it looks.
It's great.
Awesome.
But they have this mechanic where you create paths of light, and you've got to point a spotlight at a prism, and that makes a bridge of light. Beautiful, great idea and everything. And when you see it, you go, oh, so I'm going to have to, because you can manually point these lights. It's like, oh, well, I'll point it now, and then I'll have to come back and point it somewhere else to make another. It'll have. But no, they only point at one bridge, and that's it. It may as well be a button to turn the bridge on.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty minor complaint. Story-wise, which is kind of its big thing, like great characters, great dialogue, great interactions, and the actual story ties into the first game in a way that I was not expecting it to. It's extremely personal for all the characters.
Answers questions from the first game.
Yeah, and it even made me realize the game's more political than it's
I was caught off by some of there are plot twists that twisted my plot.
Yeah.
I like that. There are plot twists that twisted my plot. Look, I do remember seeing that it's meant to be quite an accessible game.
Yeah. I wanted to bring that up because we were talking about the fighting earlier, and one of the features that Psychonauts 2 has is an immortality
you can just turn on immortality
mode. And this part of this was to help people or just let people experience the story without having to struggle through these fights. And that seems like a really good thing to me. But to a degree, it seemed odd because the parts that I struggled with the most weren't the fights, were the platforming. And I mean, you can't really
change that, yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's a good feature. I just honestly think that it's not one of the games that needs it as much as other games. Like, I'm glad it's there. There's no way you could...
How does it differ from something like Ratchet and Clank, for example, which has that same sort of idea where you can do that whole
just play with
that?
Yeah, I mean they're the same. You just don't take damage from enemies. Yeah, that's basically it. If you fall, it's the same in the if you fall anywhere in the game, it's pretty much you just come back up where you fell off. It's pretty forgiving of that sort of thing. But there's no...
Platforming is hard.
Yeah. It is.
And kind of one of the problems with Psychonauts platforming is that the levels try to look so organic and so well put together that sometimes you'll... jumps are a little bit hard to gauge sometimes because it's not uniform. Yeah. It's not like a Mario where you know exactly, that's going to be one block. Most of the time, if you just trust the game design and go anything that you're going to swing off is going to be one standard jump. Don't do a double jump even if you think, and you'll land at 99% of the times. It's only when you second guess yourself. It's
I don't play a lot of platformers, so I second guess myself a lot.
A lot, yeah. It's not the easiest, but it is solid.
I don't know if it's because this game's easier or because I was a child when I played the first game, but I definitely struggled with the first game. Some specific infamous levels in particular more than
I was always fine with the Meat Circus. But weirdly, I played Psychonauts 1 on PC with a GameCube controller for some reason.
That's weird.
Interesting.
Don't know why I did that, but it played real well. Actually, that was one of the things I find weird. Much like the first game, you've got more powers than you can use at any one time, so you can map them to different face buttons. But just like the first game, 3 of my powers are always there. Yeah. So I'm always just remapping the one. I kind of wish that they had something to switch them around a bit more.
What were the 3? Because I had 2 most of the time and only 1 that I kept all the time.
Basically, I'd always have the levitation ball always had to be there because that was mobility.
Yeah.
And then I'll just call it a grappling hook for not exposing what it is. The equivalent of that. And I'd probably normally keep the Psyblast, just the simple attack out most of the time. Oh, no, that's not true. No, the other one was the grabbing. To pick things up. Yeah, telekinesis, because that was pretty much standard. So those 3 were pretty much there. So yeah, it's I want 5 more buttons, please.
So, I feel like I could go on to talk about this.
It's a fantastic game.
Ages, and I shouldn't. But my thoughts are that I really enjoyed it. And because of my experiences in recent years, both games that I've become really excited for, and just sequels to media that I've really liked continue to let me down. So I was really scared for this, but it didn't. It lived up to my hopes.
Psychonauts 2 was crowdfunded.
Yeah.
And basically we were all expecting a good but smaller game. And it was to a degree. And then when Microsoft bought Double Fine, they just said, you know what, we're going to add another year and a half or so to development, and we're going to add back in content we couldn't do, boss fights primarily, and we're going to polish it up. And it is polished, and it feels like an expensive game.
Yeah.
Like, it would do things that I thought it wasn't going to do because that would be expensive. It's like, oh, you did that, or you animated it, and it looks great. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, it feels great.
It's a great experience, and it's set up, and the start happens in a way that if you haven't played either of the first two games, I think you'd still be able to get into it. Yeah,
especially not playing the VR game, because most people did not.
I didn't. You don't need to.
Yeah, they cover it all in an intro movie. It's fine. Are we putting it on an affected accent now?
No.
Always.
I'm not Maylee anymore. I wanted to mix it up.
Okay.
I'm whoever this voice is.
Who you want to be?
Franklin. I don't know. That name comes to mind.
This ties in very well with the themes of the game we're about to talk about.
Yeah. Well, the game you're about to talk about.
Yeah, we're not talking about
Rasputin.
You can talk.
Go for it.
I'm not about being formal. Okay, we're going to jump straight into a review here. The Artful Escape of Francis Vendetti by Melbourne-based studio Beethoven and Dinosaur was announced back in 2016. Our first glimpses showed a wild sci-fi rock opera themed platformer game with great art and every effect on the Unreal Engine turned on. Back then, I was lucky enough to play the game and meet the project's creative director, Johnny Galvatron, lead guitarist and singer for the band The Galvatrons, and a talented artist. The game launched a Kickstarter for funding at the time, but failed to meet its goal. That was not the end, however, as the game kept going, received a name change, a big stage showing at E3, and was picked up by Annapurna Interactive, which also brought with it an A-list cast of voice talent. Now we have The Artful Escape, starring Michael Johnston, Carolyn Kinley, Carl Weathers, Lena Headey, Jason Schwartzman, and Mark Strong, among others. I would wager not a single asset from the original 2016 build I played still exists in the game, and the already impressive visuals have been taken to another level, expertly blending 2D and 3D assets to create a game where almost every frame is screenshot worthy, bringing wonder and joy as you move through it. And that's a great thing, because basically, that's mostly all you'll be doing. The Artful Escape, at its core, is a walking simulator. It has no interest in difficult platforming or puzzles of any sort. You will spend the majority of your time moving right and holding down a button to wail on your guitar. The world transforms around you as you play your instrument, and occasionally you'll have to stop for an encounter, which we will refer to as a boss fight. These sections are intense encounters with creatures beyond your imagination, and you play Simon with them. They flash a pattern and you'll repeat it. Each button represents a note on your guitar, so you can express yourself with your own timing, but it's still just Simon. I highlight this point only so a player doesn't get the wrong expectation from a game that controls so clearly like a platformer. It is interested in an experiential journey, not gameplay. Also, it has a pretty good story. You play as Francis Vendetti, nephew of the legendary folk musician Johnson Vendetti, who you can think of as a Bob Dylan type. In the small town of Calypso, Colorado, people are gathered for a festival celebrating your uncle, and you are to play your first gig on the closing night. As the nephew of the legend, you are expected to follow in his footsteps, and expectations are high. The game starts with Francis, alone with his guitar, and the excellent on-screen prompt to strum a folk ballad about the toil of a miner's life, hold X. The thing is, Francis isn't really into folk music. He likes to shred. Thankfully, it doesn't take long until the plot gets pushed forward and he finds himself whisked away to a world of lasers, aliens, and surreal worlds that all just love to wail on electric guitar. This is a journey where Francis will build their new identity, their Ziggy Stardust. The player will even get some agency in what their persona will be, which is great, and gives more attachment to the proceedings. I have a few issues with the game, some of them fair and some unfair, but I'll let you know which is which. For a game about music, there are no songs. Now, understand there is music near constantly, big swelling epic pieces that allow you to pull your guitar out at almost any gameplay moment and solo over. But while Ziggy Stardust played guitar, We don't know that name because of a 30-minute-long shapeless jam. Francis is only interested in guitar, no vocals, and while being able to dynamically pull that off may not be possible, especially in big performances, in the game, songs with more intent would surely have been more impactful to me than, honestly, another round of Simon. It doesn't really get my heart rate up. And Johnny's band, the Galvatrons, is really fun. He has the chops, but it's just not an element of the game. The more unfair criticism comes from tentpoles of the game that were originally planned but did not make the final version. It's never fair to judge a game by what it isn't, but I'll do it anyway. The original design had more freedom in musical creativity. There wasn't a button to just play pre-recorded guitar tracks. Rather, you could switch to guitar mode and just jam at your own pace to the spectacular vistas that lay before you. The Kickstarter even had plans for the player to be able to sample sounds from the world and incorporate them into your tracks. It's clear why these elements were dropped. The game is more streamlined for it and the team is small, but I do lament their absence. Thankfully, there are a few sections of the game where you are still given the freedom to aimlessly jam, and while extremely happy to have them, it's a limited toolset, but I found myself really enjoying it while I could. The Artful Escape is a spectacular journey for the senses. I was shocked when the credits hit and the art team was 5 people. It's basically 4 and a bit hours of non-stop art. The voice acting is great, and the story is playful and genuine. You won't find any challenge here, but you will get to ride lasers through space while wailing on your holographic guitar. The game is available for PC and Xbox platforms on Game Pass, or for around $30. And that's The Artful Escape, previously The Artful Escape of Francis Vendetti. I can see why they cut the title down too.
And that's on Game Pass?
It's on Game Pass.
On Game Pass, guys.
And this is sort of, we've got some just tracks from the game playing behind at the moment. And this is sort of the thing in the game. It's all this like lovely sort of stuff in the background because you're going to pull out the guitar and go over it. Which is funny when you listen to the soundtrack, there's no guitar in it because it's dynamically added in game.
Yeah.
So you just get like swelling emotional music. You'll be running through an alien landscape and creatures will be running all around you, and as you pull out the guitar, things light up and explode, and as I say, lasers everywhere. It is like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
The feeling to it is, but yeah, it's also, it is a walking simulator at its heart. And that cast is awesome. Carl Weathers' part especially is really substantial. Like, ooh, I like Carl Weathers. He's cool. And
it sounds really good.
And it's pretty awesome.
For those listening, you can't see, but Paul is very clearly very excited talking about this game. So if that's not coming across in person, take that as an endorsement for how good it was.
And Johnny, he's a good drinking guy too. Yeah, nice fella. Yeah, that's what's good about PAX. Go down and meet all these people.
Yes.
Yes, they feel.
When the world allows.
Yeah, when the world allows.
Well, I've enjoyed talking about video games, and I get the feeling you all have, but we've done it a bit too long, and we pretty much have to go. We've spent all our time. Yeah. So, until next time, go play some Call of Duty.
I'll play some Call of... No, I won't, actually. That's not me.
I don't think I'm going to be playing that either. I think I'm going to be playing other things.
Okay.
Or not playing anything until I finish my thesis.
Well, play something fun.
Yeah.
For us. For Rani, go out there, play something fun.
Yeah. Please.
Goodbye, dear
Bye.
listeners. Bye.
Farewell.
Thanks for listening to Zed Games.
If you'd like to listen to more, check out our podcast on Spotify.
Or follow us on social media at ZED Games AU.
See you next time.